We're live, Ralphie.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to New York City Council's hearing on the Committee on Housing and Buildings. Everyone, please turn on your video at this time and silence all electronic devices. Thank you so much. Chairman, we can begin.
Thank you, Raphael. I am Councilmember Robert E. Cornegie Jr., Chair of the Council's Committee on Housing and Buildings, officially gabbling us in for this vote.
Ready, Mr. Chair?
Yeah, I'm going to pass it over to Billy Martin. Chair.
Thank you, sir. William Martin, Committee Clerk, roll call vote, Committee on Housing and Buildings, Introduction 874A, part of the lead package, improving tenant notification, interagency cooperation, conducting inspections, and issuing stop work orders in connection with lead paint and construction work. Chair Cornegie.
I proudly vote aye, and congratulations to the bill sponsor. Sorry it took so long, Mark.
Thank you.
Councilmember Chin.
Thank you. Permission to explain my vote?
Of course.
I just want to say a few words about the bill. I really want to thank all my colleagues and all the advocate and the committee staff. This took a very long time. It was supposed to be part of the lead package last year, but because I guess the agency had to figure out how they work together. But I think as council member, we fight every day for our district and help our constituents improve the quality of life. And this piece of legislation is an important step to ensuring that no child must suffer because of poor oversight of construction in residential building. And in my district, I think also in Councilmember Rivera's district, we have a lot of old tenement building. And I think there are those kind of old buildings across the city, and a lot of them, have lead. And there's so much renovations and construction going on. Even though the city's rate of lead poisoning has lessened, but the lead guideline is still not up to par with the CDC recommendation. And the main part is that this bill legislates cooperation between agencies, between DOB and Department of Health, so that when lead is detected during renovation and construction, that immediate actions are taken. And that's really important because, the damage to a child is irreversible. So this is why it's so important that every child deserves to live in a safe home, free of environmental hazard and heavy metal. So I thank my colleague and I urge you to support, and I proudly vote aye. Thank you.
Councilmember Lewis.
I vote aye. Congratulations, Margaret.
Thank you. Councilmember Rosenthal.
I vote aye. Permission to explain my vote?
Of course.
I'm stunned that we now have to legislate cooperation between agencies. But, there are many issues where that does, where that cooperation is the answer to the question, or whatever the problem is. So Councilmember Chin, congratulations on your legislation, and I proudly vote aye.
Helen, just on that point, last minute, right, Austin, when they were trying to age the bill, I was speaking, the commissioner called me. It was like DOB said, look, we can take the sample, let the sample, but we can't do the testing. But then Department of Health could do the testing. So they got to work together. But apparently Department of Health, I don't know if it's true or not, but they don't work on weekend. But DOB is there all the time. So when DOB shows up, and this bill requires them, if a complaint about lead, to show up within 24 hours. And they have to take the sample and then pass it on to Department of Health. Makes sense, right?
Mazel tov.
Gordenchik.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. I want to congratulate my colleague, Councilwoman Chin, on this legislation. And I want to pick up, I don't know if she left, but I just want to pick up on what Councilwoman Rosenthal said. Maybe we need more legislation mandating that city agencies work with one another. It has been over my generation in government, a source of great frustration at times that one agency doesn't know what the other agency is doing. And that's on the city level. When you get multiple agencies involved on a city, state, and federal level, it could be maddening. And that is everybody's at fault and nobody's at fault. And that's, if you don't want progress, that's what you do. You put everybody in the stew and you don't make them work together. So I want to thank you, Councilwoman Chin. Thank you, Chair, for advancing this bill, and I proudly vote aye.
Thank you.
Councilmember Grodenchik, I hope that what we've done today has set a precedent and we don't have to do this every single time. So I'm hoping that this fire lit by Councilmember Chin is one that kind of runs like wildfire throughout all the agencies to not want to do this and be embarrassed in this way.
Well, let's hope so. Either that or we need somebody like my late great mentor, Claire Schulman, who would lock people in the room until they did what she wanted. So that was effective too. Anyway, thank you again.
Thank you.
Jonai.
I vote aye.
Thank you. Councilmember Rivera.
I vote aye.
By a vote of 7 in the affirmative, 0 in the negative, and no abstentions, introduction 874A has been adopted by the committee. And Mr. Chair, there are 2 other council members outstanding.
We're going to hold the vote open for a few minutes for Councilmember Cabrera.
Sure. Austin, do we hear from his office?
Yeah, he's on his way.
Okay, thank you. Councilmember Chin.
Yes.
I'm in a little bit of an awkward spot and I'm about to lose my signal. Would you mind closing the hearing out?
Oh. Yeah, of course.
Thank you. I couldn't think of anybody better on this occasion. Thank you guys so much.
Yeah, thank you for finding the time to do this. Thank you.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Hi, Councilmember Cabrera.
Hi, how are you?
Pretty good.
Thank you for joining us.
The Committee on Housing and
Thank
Buildings,
you.
introduction 8748, Councilmember Cabrera.
I vote aye.
Thank you.
Thank you. The vote is now at 8 in the affirmative. One moment.
Thank you, everyone.
Are we closing?
Anybody else?
No, Councilmember Chen, you can close out.
Okay, so
Okay.
8 in the affirmative, 0 in the negative, no abstentions, the final vote. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you to everyone. And the hearing is now adjourned.